see you. Hey, Rocky, Nanette, how are you? I swallowed water down the wrong way. Hey, Judy, good to see you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, Leo Dempsey, keep the faith. Good morning, friend. Good morning, see you. Glad to see you. Go ahead, if you will, and share. Hey, Clap, good to see you. Share with your followers, invite them on in. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to share to Cloud Hub and Zoom. Hey, Loretta, good to see you. Not Zoom, but I mean Parlor, sorry. We've got a lot to talk about today. Hey, Rob, good to see you. Spy Joker, good to see you. Good morning, Paula. Good morning, Nikolai. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, Sharon, good to see you. Ron, good morning. Ron here. Good to see you. And let me look over here on Cloud Hub. Cloud Hub should be up. It was up yesterday and running, so it would be great if it's the same today. Hey, Carmen, good to see you. Okay, good. Hey, Bonnie, good morning. Good to see you as well. Glad Cloud Hub is back up. Let me go ahead. Hey, Debbie, good morning. I want to read to you today the introduction that my Bible has about Hosea, or Hosea, whichever way you say it. I don't think it really matters as long as you get the point. Hey, Ray, Monica. This is, when I'm reading this, see if this doesn't ring a bell to you. I stayed up till midnight listening to Michigan meetings. It's looking good. All right. Hosea, whose name means salvation, ministers to the northern kingdom of Israel, also called Ephraim, after its largest tribe. Outwardly, the nation is enjoying a time of prosperity and growth, but inwardly, morally corrupt and moral corruption and spiritual adultery permeate the people. Hosea, instructed by God to marry a woman named Gomer, finds his domestic life to be an accurate and tragic dramatization of the unfaithfulness of God's people. During his half century of prophetic ministry, Hosea repeatedly echoes his threefold message: God abhors the sins of his people. Judgment is certain, but God's loyal love stands firm. The names Hosea, Joshua, and Jesus all are derived from the same Hebrew root. The word Hosea means salvation, but Joshua and Jesus include an additional idea: Yahweh is salvation. As God's messenger, Hosea offers the possibility of salvation if only the nation will turn from idolatry back to God. Israel's last king, Hosea, has the same name as the prophet, even though the English Bible spells him differently. So my point is, does that sound familiar to you? Hey, Persistent RN, how are you? If it does, or even if it doesn't, hey, Robin, please go ahead today at some point and read that whole book of Hosea. It's very short, but I think it is so relevant, as it is always, but especially right now in our time. Hey, April, what we're seeing is mirroring a lot of things that we're seeing right now in the Bible. And I think it's important to remember that. Also want to tell you about my book, My Ears Are Not Like Yours, available on Amazon.com. This book, as I've talked about before, is for 4 to 11-year-olds and younger if you want to read it to them. And this book will bring encouragement for kids ages 4 to 11. Robin said, great book. Thank you, Robin. And I think right now kids need all of the encouragement they can get. And this will be, for holidays, for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, or just to say, I love you to that special child in your life. So My Ears Are Not Like Yours, available at Amazon.com. Go there, buy it. Please give it to a child that you love. Thank you, Persistent. Hey, Twin Crier. Good morning, Sissy. Good to see you. Pray for Chessie's father in recovery from heart surgery. Absolutely. I know that I think he probably had to go back in, perhaps. Good morning, Sapphire. Great book, Carmen said. Thank you, Carmen. My goal is to someday try to get this book into every school for every child. So keep your fingers crossed. Schools only take certain books. There seem to be banning more these days and taking them in LA, but but I hope to get them in for children, because children absolutely, they need a good word and an encouraging word. Okay, waking up in LA, RLU. Oh, good Lord! Don't take a deep breath. I've had open heart twice in less than 5 months. Wow, Ron, that's a lot. All right, so let's get started with the breaking news. Jobless claims rise to 742,000, which is about 30,000 more from the previous week. And depending on who you're listening to on mainstream media, it said it was kind of unexpected. I don't know. It kind of goes up and down. How about Newsom? Yeah, don't get me started. Don't get me started. All right, now I want to show you for all of those that are over on the other platform, and I'll read it to those who can't see it. This is a tweet from Nick Short. One of President Trump's campaign lawyers in Philadelphia, Linda Kearns, has been the subject of threats of harm to the point at which the involvement of police and U.S. Marshals has been necessary to provide for her safety. So today we see in our world that if you want the truth to come out, you're going to probably pay for it. Wonderful goal to get your books in school. RLU said, thank you. Governor's shutting down things again. Equal job loss. Yep. So the more truth that comes out, the more that we're going to see a lot of people, unfortunately, involved in getting the truth out, who are going to be harassed, threatened, anything and everything. All right, let's look at some tweets from Donald Trump. Repaired my mitral valve. Prayers for those having open heart surgery today. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let me bring this up. For those of you who can see this. Okay. President Trump says important news conference today by lawyers on a very clear and viable path to victory. Pieces are very nicely falling into place. The RNC, hey Lee, at 12 o'clock today. We probably won't be able to see it, but they'll have that. So that'll be, we'll keep seeing what happens. Hey, Sally. Hey, Barbara. Greatest president. This guy right here. I don't know. This is the original President Trump supporter page. So don't get that confused with the president. I wish they would use another photograph. It would be nice if they did. But let me go over to the real Donald Trump and see what he has to say. Almost zero ballots rejected in Georgia this election. In years past, close to 4%. Not possible. Must have signature check on envelopes now. Very easy to do. Dems fighting because they got caught. Far more votes than needed for flip. Republicans must get tough. Thousands of uncounted votes discovered in Georgia counties. When the much more important signature match does take place, the state will flip Republican and very quickly get it done. Important news conference. Again, we talked about voter fraud in Detroit is rampant, has been for many years. And then he misspelled the word people, which is easy to do. It's right. The E is right next to the R on the on your keyboard. And of course, the left just took off with that, because that's what's important to them right now. Making fun of the president misspelling a word because of moving his finger incorrectly on the keyboard. So that can tell you where their hearts and their minds are. Hey, Wanda Craig, good morning. Our Rhino government Holcomb just reversed level 5. Is that Carol? Is that you? Persistent RN? Is that you, Carol Ann? Who cares? I have fat fingers too. You know it. Barbara said, darn autocorrect. Yeah. I mean, and then to go ahead and make that trend on Twitter is just absolutely crazy. All right. Now, also, Wayne County, Michigan. Last night, Republicans rescinded their votes to recertify. They filed affidavits that their families were being threatened. It's kind of like the same thing, that happened to General Flynn, but nobody seems to care, especially when it's not happening to their family. The left doesn't care. They don't even have anything on right. They hate President Trump so much. Yeah, they hate President Trump more than they love their country. And I'm not sure how much they really love their country these days. I mean, why would you be, Barb, good glad to see who it is. Um, you hate your country so much that you would vote for a man that is pro-abortion and pro-progressive socialism, communism. I mean, that's just, you must not love your country when that happens. TDS is a serious brain disease. Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, here's Jack Posobiec saying, Wayne County, Michigan election board Republicans rescind votes to certify file. This was 11 hours ago. File affidavits said their families were threatened. There's the affidavits there. And this is the affidavit of William Hartman. Interesting question on page 4 about private monies directing local officials. This, if it can be proven, the election fraud is so deep. Pray for them. Absolutely. It's so deep that people are willing to threaten people to shut them up. People are willing not to get the truth out because they want it hidden. Love of country is taught against in schools now. Yeah, pretty much so. Persistent Barb, I don't know who he did restream. I don't know what you're talking about or who you're talking about. Or I guess you're talking about the Rhino governor. Heard some other threats on the radio show, and it was horrid. Barbara said Democrats ruin everything through their thoughts, actions, and deeds. Ron said, I saw that man threatening them on video. I mean, this is where we're living these days, and it's it's very sad to see that this is our country. This is what it's devolved into. All right, so let's talk a little bit more now about Pennsylvania, some things coming out of there that we should be up on. Hold on one second. All right, so in Pennsylvania, this is Ron Coleman, who is an attorney, and Ron is also on Clout Hub, just so you know. This is a series of lies, and I can testify to that in court based on first-hand knowledge. This says Pennsylvania, according to PolitiFact and the New York Times, that there's no evidence that Republican election observers were banned from watching ballot counts in Pennsylvania, watching an attempted communist takeover. Yes, we are, Nanette. We really are. And so Ron Coleman, who is an attorney and on Cloud Hub, fellow Ronnie, says that they're lying. And he has personal firsthand knowledge, not hearsay, firsthand knowledge. So if he may need to testify to that, he may need to sign an affidavit for that. I mean, whatever you got to do to prove this. Now, this is from an official. This is a Democrat in California. This is not going to be surprising. He works with Sidney Powell. Judy said, yeah, I'm sure he does. There's so many people all working together on this. A Democratic Party official in California is calling for national re-education camps for families who voted for Trump. This says David Atkins. No, seriously, how do you deprogram 75 million people? Heard Trump's attorney coming out with major news today. Yeah, Kelly, I think about noon, supposedly. Great day on the morning, big tech. Truth bus. Good morning. Yes. Oh, brother. Yep. Okay. So we have to, it said deprogram 75 million people. Where do you start? Fox, Facebook. We have to start thinking in terms of post-World War II Germany or Japan, or the failures of Reconstruction in the South. This is not your standard partisan policy disagreement. This is conspiracy theory fueled belligerent death cult against reality and basic decency. Yeah, noon Eastern. That's right. The only actual policy debates of note are happening within the Dem coalition between left and center left. So this guy sounds like a crazy Democrat in California, who is a contributor monthly at monthly Bylines, the Prospect. I mean, elected DNC member. So there you go. What idiots? They're the ones that are brainwashed. Yep, he needs to be deprogrammed in a nut house. Somebody said, was that April? Yeah. Hey, Diane, good to see you. Like that Christmas. Oh, thank you, James. Yeah, that's my latest Christmas wreath. So this is all blue, silver, and white. You can see it right there. Blue, silver, and white balls that are in the wreath. And that wreath has a greenery base, and that's white mesh around it. This really brightens up a room when you go in it, and you can't see it right now. But there are icicles, like two little icicles in the middle of it. Thank you, Robin. Robin said so pretty, but it really brightens up a room. It really does. It makes me so happy when I see it. So yeah, and that one's available if anybody wants that one. I saw the wreath too. Beauty. Thank you. Was just looking at that wreath. Thank you, Carmen. Yeah, just message me or whatever would if you want details on it. I'd be glad to tell you. This is my favorite. It does me too. I know, Sally, it really does. It shines. It really shines. I love that. All right. Now, there's one thing I want to tell you. Last night, I was wanting to hear Pastor Jack Hibbs. He usually comes on Wednesday. He's been coming on Wednesday forever. Ellie Mae said, I really like that one. So pretty. Thank you. Pennsylvania's nickname is the Keystone State because it was the middle colony of the original 13 colonies. Who is that? Said that? That is RLU. So we are wrong for loving Constitution, capitalism, Christianity. It's not about Trump. Barbara said, I shared it everywhere last night. Thank you, Sally. So I wanted to watch Jack Hibbs, and for some reason, it wasn't on, like that Christmas wreath. Thank you, James. Beautiful wreath. Thank you, Bill. And so I was really, sad about that, because I needed the word, right? I needed a word. I needed a good message. So I rewatched a video that he had done. I think it was right after the election. I can't remember. And it's called Be Anxious for Nothing. And it was a good reminder for me, because when I came back and watched it again, I remembered the message that stuck out to me that night. And it was about how God removes kings whenever he sees fit. If God doesn't want a president, a king, whomever in power, God will remove them. But Jack's point, Pastor Jack Hibbs, his point was God doesn't have to use an illegitimate, fraudulent election to remove President Trump. And typically that's not what God does. God just removes them, whether they pass away or, whatever the case may be. He doesn't use illegal stuff, to get him out. Robin said that was an excellent sermon. It really was, Robin. And listening to it a second time, it helped me. It helped me remember things. That was the sermon at the end where Pastor Jack, I've never seen him do this before. He broke down and wept at the end of the service while he was praying. And when he was weeping, the reason he was weeping, Ellie Mae said, I watched that sermon 3 times. Ellie Mae, I'm going to watch it again too. It's worth watching it 3 times. It was amazing. You could feel God. You could hear God coming out of that message. But the reason he was weeping, he was saying, God, why is there a man who believes in life and saving babies? Why are you replacing him? Why would you want to replace him? Why would you want to put somebody in that's a communist? And it just on and on. And none of it, God finishes the job before removing the king, Rue said. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Rue. You have so much that's going on. His people were removed into slavery by the Babylonians with hooks in their noses as a judgment. And I think, one of the things, it's just like Hosea, when I read that to you, we as a nation, for 4 years and long before 4 years, but we've turned to idols. We've turned I'm not calling Trump an idol. Please don't even go there. But we've turned to idols. We've turned to the feeling of, wow, we've got it good. Things are great are happening. We've got this economy that's going well. This is wonderful. And we kind of forgot about God, more than kind of forgot about God. We did, we did. We thought more about that. My first thought, we are not of this world. Right. And we forgot that, Lee. We forgot that. We forgot to give thanks to God. Trump is God's messenger to expose all the impunity and evilness of that left. Yeah, I think right now God is exposing everything. And, God's not finished, as Rue was saying. God's not finished because, like Wayne County, we all thought that human heart is an idol making factory. Big Tech said, we all thought things were over in Michigan, Wayne County. And then everything turned around. Hollywood, money, Amazon, cars, luxury living. Yes. And we forgot about worshiping God as much as we worshiped all of those things that were happening. Pastor Hibbs, we played instead of prayed. And Ellie Mae, it's so true. And I'm guilty of it. I think we all are, if we're honest with ourselves, because we turn to God more. Like now, people are praying, asking God, please save us. Save us from this. Have mercy on us. Trump is the best we have. No one is perfect. I believe God is using Trump for the good. Oh, absolutely. My great-grandparents moved in the early 1900s to the U.S. Maybe it's time to think about moving somewhere else. Not much future for a conservative in the U.S. That's true, James. But if America falls, so goes the rest of the world. So, everything depends upon the United States. And someday the United States, whether it's now or someday, it will disappear. But it has to for the new world order. But if you also look at what's happening, all of the slithering, slimy, demonic stuff is coming up from the pits of hell. That's what it feels like. We are too prideful, Rue said. Yeah, Trump's presidency brought you closer to God, Ewity said. But we see all of them they can't wait. They can't wait to get in and do their demonic deeds. They really can. You hear them about where they want to go, where they want to take this country, get rid of America, get rid of, the nuclear family, churches, all of that. Go towards climate change as your God. Go towards, everything vile. Pedophilia. You can hear people talking about pedophilia and how they really want it to be okay. And I'm talking in general. There are a lot of people who need to humble ourselves, pray without ceasing, live in repentance, even when this is over. Yes, absolutely. We can't, regardless of what happens and what God does, and only God knows what God is going to do. Hey, Danielle, we can't go back and just live the way we were before. You can't do it. I'm happy about the national praying. I love it so much. I pray it continues, whatever happens. Yeah, there was a national prayer last night on Pray, Vote, Stand, I think it is, which was Tony Perkins. That was really good. Democratic Party have already done enough damage in this country. Well, and they're continuing to. They're really continuing to. And it isn't for them. They don't have a love of this country. 2020 has been a wake-up call to Christians, Robin said. And it should be more about this country. Good morning, Susan, Redeemed Patriot. Good morning, Redeemed Patriot. This is about God's principles. God's principles have been called into question. But every time something like this happens, and now correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like God comes in and God will always do, we've said this before, always do things that will glorify himself and benefit us. He did that in Sodom and Gomorrah when there was no hope. When Trump wins, I hope Christians stop taking for granted the gift of freedom to evangelize. I pray. And I'll share something with you. I said this about a week or so ago to God, and I'm going to confess it right now. And whatever happens, then you'll have to hold me accountable, I guess. I prayed to God, and I said, God, if you will give us back, our country and President Trump as our president, not a bargaining chip, but just a promise to God, what I would do, basically, is that I said that I will spend the rest of my time on this earth helping pregnancy resource centers, doing more work, getting out there to stop abortion of the children that God has created. And whatever that means, I don't know. I'm sure God will show me, but that's what I'm committed to doing. Should President Trump be deemed president back in the White House, I'm not going back and saying, well, I can't make a difference. Yes, I do help the pregnancy center. Good, Danielle. I'm not going back. I'm going to do something that I can stand before God and say, this is what I did for you, God. We've been conscripted to fight, co-labor the front lines from this point on, RLU said. I've also asked God to reinstate Trump so I can commit to fighting human trafficking and abortion. Great for you. Is that Sally? I think that's you, but I'm not sure. Why would you do it on contingency? Big Tech, I just said I wouldn't. I didn't make it. If you do this, then I'll do that. It was just my commitment to God. That's all. I'm with you. We will do it no matter what. Yes. Well, I will. I will do it anyway. But I'm just being honest with you, what I said. A great ministry. Yeah. Yeah. It's not on contingency. It's kind of like, you know, I'm just saying, I'm just making a promise and a commitment to God. And that was the time to do it. And that's the time, that's what I felt. And that's what I did. So, you know, I wanted to just share that with you. Yeah, it's a promise. Susan, you need to set up a fund where others can donate anytime to our, what do you mean, Sally, for, tell me what you're talking about exactly. Seed a shining seed, not contingent from my end. It's more of a wake up to stop being lazy. Exactly. Exactly. Seed a shining seed. And I wish I could remember your first name, but I don't. I'm sorry. Like, help her be brave. Yeah. No, I know. See, I'm not done with youmakeherbrave.com. I'm not done with those people. My prayers have been moaning and groaning, Judy said. Lou, Lou, it has been a while. I'm not done with those people. I want to give them more. They sent a picture to me the other day. They were opening the boxes that the people who donated here gave them, and the smiles on their faces, and these were office supplies, right? They opened the first two boxes thinking, oh, that was it. That was not that was all they were getting, but they literally thought, oh, this is so nice. We got 2 boxes of supplies here. And what they didn't realize, and what she wrote in later was, my gosh, you know, more boxes came in later. It's like Christmas around here. I want it to be Christmas around there every day. I want there to be the birth of children around there every day, not the abortion and the death of children. I want to help bring light, just like they're bringing light. You know, they do an amazing job. Those people in that resource center do an amazing job. And I want all of us to keep giving what we can to them. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means money, time, telling people. I don't know, but I'm just saying I'm not done with them no matter what. I tell my friends 2 words that I try to follow myself: stay humble. Yeah. And there's no reason you shouldn't stay humble, because at the end of the day, when you look at it, we are no better than anybody else. You know, we really aren't. Amen. We live in dark times, Nikolai said. They had the biggest smiles on their faces. It was awesome. Sissy, they did. We really need to spread the word. We really, really do. And one of the best ways that you can spread the word is by helping life, by giving life. I know we're not giving life, but being a part of the life that is brought into this world. As I read to you the other day, 186,000 children were aborted in the United States alone in 2018, 2017, 2018. That was the last stats that we have. That's unreal. Try to imagine that in your mind. And that's only in the United States. And all things seek him. Yes, redeemed patriot. Yeah. Lord have mercy. Yeah. I mean, when you hear those numbers are staggering. Think if we had a pregnancy resource center on every corner, especially in those neighborhoods where they put up their abortion clinics, maybe we could save tons of lives. How many people are looking to adopt children? If your church isn't supporting a ministry like that, I know. You know, how many people want to adopt children? And we make it very difficult for people to adopt children. There are tons of people out there who would love to have those babies. I've had arguments with people about abortion. It's amazing. I know. So, you know, you have to give people resources, not just tell them, about it. You have to give them resources. We also need to do something about changing the laws about adoption. God could destroy us just for the abortions, but he is more patient than I am. And he's more loving and forgiving and merciful, Robin. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here right now after killing all of those children. I mean, that alone is, in my book, enough. God, yeah, woo, far greater than anybody I know, for sure. Okay, this is the GOP. Two senators, Jordan and Representative James Comer, called for, let's go ahead and it's halftime. Thank you, Judy. Thank you for telling me. Let's share and invite your followers back in and we'll go forward. Okay, let me go ahead. All right. He could destroy us for the gender bending crap alone, too. Carmen said, you're most welcome. You were. Okay, so the GOP, Jim Jordan and Representative James Comer called for immediate congressional investigation into the 2020 election. But look at this. Who's this to? Gerald Nadler and Carolyn Mahoney. We urge you to immediately convene hearings to examine the integrity of the 2020 election and troubling reports of irregularities and improprieties. Okay, well, here, in my opinion, that would be like asking the fox to guard the hen house. Hey, Mr. Fox, could you go over to the hen house and look into that? I know there are some eggs that are missing and some chickens. Can you go over there and see what you can see and come back and tell us? Because we'd like to have justice. Yeah. Jerry Nadler is useless. Jerry Nadler, in my opinion, is doing what his puppeteers tell him to do. And part of that puppeteer is Nancy Pelosi, who, by the way, she's still going to be Speaker of the House. She got, elected back in there, the Speaker of the House. And, but it's her last time, she says, because she promised, if we just win one more time, I'll just be the Speaker of the House one more time, and then we can open it up to anybody else who wants to be Speaker. And the reason they're so happy to have Nancy back in is because Nancy raises funds like nobody's business, because she, let's just say, has known people for so long that she can get money off of, I won't even tell you what I'm thinking, but she can get money when nobody else can. So there you go. We've investigated ourselves and we found nothing wrong. Exactly, Rue. Take church outside the walls we worship in. Yeah, abortions kill more than COVID. Really, James? Because I thought COVID killed everything. You can hear say COVID kills everybody. I'm hearing the United Spot Nancy giggle. Ugh. She shakes down the people who owe her. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi is a mafia wife, Ron said. Let's impeach her, Gina said. Yeah, see, the people in California voted her back in. At this point, we don't know who to trust, even conservatives, too many rhinos. Exactly, Ewitty. There are plenty of rhinos. One reminds me of when Lindsey Graham walks by and does a fist bump, for Kamala Harris. Okay, I understand. You got to be nice to people, but you don't have to do the fist bump. Just saying. I don't trust Graham. I don't think many people do. And there you go again. They cheated her in Susan. Yeah, exactly. Well, like I said, she was groomed back when Obama was president. That's what they wanted. Okay. Here's another. Let me bring this up. This is Donald Trump. And with these numbers by far the highest for a sitting president, there was no way the Dems could have won, except through what we are learning now, a rigged election. Even in the New York Times, President Trump received 10.1 million more votes across the United States than he received 4 years ago, including in areas with a majority of Hispanic voters. No, it's South Carolina, Barbara. Hi, everyone. How are you? Is it Carolyn or Colleen? Colleen? CMPDPE, is that Colleen? An alternative path may be succession. That's going to, okay, Colleen, haven't seen you in a while. I was taking a stab at that. I was hoping I was right. All right. So, yeah, it makes it very difficult to believe. Yep, I realize after saying. Okay, here now. Let's get on to another subject really quickly here. This to me is so appropriate, and it says, I watch you on YouTube mostly. Okay, cool. Thank you for doing that. So here we go. This is, let me bring this up. This is the tree that got there yesterday. The poor Christmas tree that went to New York, and they put this pitiful looking 75-foot Norway spruce that people are saying looked like it had been dragged through the road. But last 2 days you haven't been on. I have been, Colleen. I don't know why it wasn't on YouTube, but I have been on, and people on YouTube have been on. So I don't know what happened. Maybe something in your neighborhood. I don't know. Yeah, this tree was just pathetic. Yeah, I'm on Parler, but I'm on Cloud Hub. Just go to Cloud Hub, go to my channel 126, and I'll be on there every single day. You'll see me there. And I'm on SusanKnowles.com. Look at this poor, pathetic little tree. Well, big tree, but pathetic. Okay. That is just, I mean, I don't know. It's just so appropriate for the times that we're in, and especially what New York is in. But let me show you, if you haven't heard, kind of what came out of this. This is probably the only bit of good news. A tiny owl was rescued from that tree. It was kind of like holding on for dear life. And it's now being taken care of. The bird was found by workers helping to transport the spruce 170 miles from New York to New York City. Poor little thing. There it is. It looks pretty good. Probably didn't know what in the world was going on. The Rockefeller Christmas tree, Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, Carmen. That's where they were putting it up in New York. So they found this little owl, and they rescued it. So that's the good news. New York didn't set up an upside down burning cross. Well, not yet. Not that we know of. Wasn't official anyway. So thank goodness the little owl got rescued. All right. And some other news. This is Arthur Schwartz. He, a blue checkmark guy. He said the Chinese communists paid $6 million to the family of Dr. Biden's former White House personal assistant. This is corroborated by bank records, not Adam Schiff's imagination. Where's the DNC-controlled media on this? Jerry Dunleavy says Johnson and Grassley released an update to their September report on Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings. Concluding revelations by Tony Bobulinski and others confirm their counterintelligence and extortion concerns raid China and Russia. So there you go. The owl was rescued. 5 New York union workers were paid double overtime. Oh, that could possibly be. Okay, so there's that information. Here's some other information that came up, and I'm kind of speeding along. I want to get this all in. For people that can go back and watch it on replay, if you like. This is Jack Posobiec. Senators release new evidence tying Hunter Biden business to communist China and Russia. That's basically what I just read to you. And that's a report coming out at justthenews.com. The relationships created counterintelligence and extortion concerns. Will anything be done about it? Not if you know who gets in. All right. Now we're going to switch to COVID because that's everybody's favorite is COVID. Here is the guy. This guy is Wisconsin Elections Commissioner. What Governor Evers isn't telling you about COVID in Wisconsin is that there are no deaths under age 20. The elderly death rate climbing. For those under 60, working age survival rate exceeds 99.9%. And rising in risk of death in car accident is 2 times more likely than COVID. Over the last 5 days, 50% deaths, 80 plus years old, 80% were 70 plus years old, and 95% were 70 plus years old. So we're being lied to. Now, you knew that. We all knew that. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why is it coming now? Is there a reason for it? We've talked about the Great Reset. And by the way, I thought that Great Reset was going to have the Davos people were going to be in January. I'm hearing that it's going on right now. I don't know if that's true. I've heard rumors of that, so I don't know. This is from Daniel Horowitz. And he basically says here, the beauty of masks and lockdown is that they are so ineffective that the virus continues unabated, which gives them even greater pretext to double down on lockdowns and masks. So those people who claim you got to wear a mask, if you wear a mask, everything will be okay. Those people are now getting COVID. How does that happen? And the more they tell you to wear your mask, the more they're lying to you, the more that we just keep on having issues. Here's Cuomo. Thanksgiving is a week away. Large indoor dinners will spread COVID. All in big caps. He should have talked to Newsom, but I guess he didn't. Limit Thanksgiving to your immediate family. Hey, Susan, what's your email address? You got to see the executive order from Trump in 2018 to elections. It's Susan at SusanKnowles.com. Susan at SusanKnowles.com. So gatherings over 10 people are not permitted. And spread thanks, not COVID. Woo! Yesterday, he was the most insultive I'd ever seen him when he was talking to reporters. 70% of COVID patients wore their masks most of the time. That's right. Because masks don't work. I know you want to believe that, but there have been studies and doctors, they're saying that's not true. Now, here's CBS. I want you to see this coming out. Here's gloom and doom again. Several friends that already had worn masks all the time. Sally, I guess they got COVID. Doctors on the White House coronavirus task force stressed to Vice President Mike Pence on Tuesday that the coronavirus pandemic situation is dire, only getting worse. Two senior officials familiar with the meeting told CBS with the same old stuff. New Jersey governor told you to wear a mask in your house. I saw that. New Mexico says the same thing. The doctors fear that the U.S. could see an average of 1,500 deaths a day next week and up to 2,000 a day by Christmas without any changes to mitigation measures. Yeah. So there you go. Gloom and doom being spread by the the paid for mainstream media. Data supports that antidepressant useful in COVID-19 treatment. Wonder why they push fear. You know why, E-Witty. They want the Great Reset. They want to come in. They want to close you down. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, now here is I'm going to quickly put this up here. And for those of you who are in on the other platform, I'm going to give you the link so you can go back and look at it. They have to gin up the cases to justify the selling of the vaccine. Yes, James. They said owl's an adult male for smallest owl bred for area, named Owl Rockefeller. Trump press conference with legal team and Rudy high noon. Yep, Right Side Broadcasting is live in less than a half an hour. Yep, we'll be there. Charlie Browntree. Yeah. I didn't get notified of your show yesterday. James, I'm telling you, I think you have to set your own clock. They probably don't want you to know. All right. So here's the conclusion. The recommendation to wear surgical masks to supplement other public health measures did not reduce the SARS-CoV-2 infection rate among wearers by more than 50% in a community with modest infection rates, some degree of social distancing, and uncommon general mask use. The data were compatible with lesser degrees of self-protection. Okay, so go look at that yourself and read what they have to say. And you can study as long as you want. I'm over here now, Susan. Okay, Sandy, cool. Yesterday was Wednesday. That's true, Rue. Thank you. That's why you didn't get any notification yesterday, because I wasn't on. It was Wednesday. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Bonnie saying no audio over there. That's really weird. The audio went out. I don't know why. Okay. Also, here's some other bad news that CBS is spreading. I want you to see this, because when it comes up, I don't want you to freak out, because again, this is all working in concert together. About 12 million jobless workers around the United States will lose their unemployment benefits the day after Christmas, right? Let's make it as bleak as we can. The benefits cutoff could push many households into poverty while creating headwinds for the economic recovery. What could put you into poverty is the fact that these states and these Democrat states are once again closing down all the businesses, closing down churches, so that you won't have any way to get any help, and more suicides will go up. So poverty and suicide. Now, I want you to see this. This is New York. New York City building inspectors in the Jewish neighborhood using binoculars and cameras to look into the private homes of people trying to catch COVID rule breakers. This is complete insanity. And this is from Rabbi Kahan. So if this is true, look at this. This is America. We're surveilling Jews now. This is what we do in America, in New York. This is insanity. What's next? We're gonna have a bus there and we're gonna load them up. I'm telling you, I've got so much more to do and I can't even get it done. We're out of time. So some of these I'll talk about tomorrow because I don't have the time to get there. Just can't do it. I'm sorry. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close it off. Wow, that's unconstitutional. Yeah. So there you go. Concentration camps. Yeah, that's what's coming. That's what's coming if we sit quietly. Yeah, it's easy to look at that and think they're persecuting Jews because basically, they're taking pictures, supposedly, what the allegations are, of people in their homes in private. They're not out in public. They're taking those pictures while inside their homes, according to the rabbi. Wednesday, Susan usually off, doesn't do her show. Yep, that's my day off. Here comes the 99 weekers again. All right. Job's discourse on the wicked, chapter 21. Listen carefully to my speech and let this be your consolation. Bear with me that I may speak, and after I have spoken, keep mocking. As for me, is my complaint against man? And if it were, why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be astonished. Put your hand over your mouth. Even when I remember I am terrified and trembling takes hold of my flesh. Why do the wicked live and become old? Yes, become mighty in power. This is really good to hear for today. Their descendants are established with them in their sight, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear. Neither is the rod of God upon them. Their bull breeds without failure. Their cow calves without miscarriage. I read this yesterday, worth repeating. They send forth the little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They sing to the tambourine and harp and rejoice to the sound of the flute. They spend their days in wealth and a moment go down to the graves. Yet they say to God, depart from us, for we do not desire the knowledge of your ways. Who is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit do we have if we pray to him? Indeed, their prosperity is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How often is the lamp of the wicked put out? How often does their destruction come upon them? The sorrows God distributes in his anger, they are like straw before the wind and like chaff that a storm carries away. They say God lays up one's iniquity for his children. Let him recompense him that he may know it. Let his eyes see his destruction, and let him drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what does he care about the household after him when the number of his months is cut in half? Can anyone teach God's knowledge since he judges those on high? One dies in his full strength, being wholly at ease and secure. His pails are full of milk, and the marrow of his bones is moist. Another man dies in the bitterness of his soul, never having eaten with pleasure. They lie down alike in the dust, and worms cover them. Look, I know your thoughts and the schemes with which you would wrong me. For you say, where is the house of the prince, and where is the tent, the dwelling place of the wicked? Have you not asked those who travel the road, and do you not know their signs? For the wicked are reserved for the day of doom. They shall be brought out of the day of wrath. Who condemns his way to his face, and who repays him for what he has done? Yet he shall be brought to the grave, and a vigil kept over the tomb. The clods of the valley shall be sweet to him. Everyone shall follow him, as countless have gone before him. How then can you comfort me with empty words, since falsehood remains in your answers? Eliphaz accuses Job of wickedness. Chapter 22. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, can a man be profitable to God, though he who is wise may be profitable to himself? Is it any pleasure to the Almighty that you are righteous, or is it gain to him that you make your ways blameless? Is it because you fear him that he corrects you and enters into judgment with you? Is not your wickedness great and your iniquity without end? For you have taken pledge from your brother for no reason, and stripped the naked of their clothing. You have not given the weary water to drink, and you have withheld bread from the hungry. But the mighty man possessed the land, and the honorable man dwelt in it. You have sent widows away empty, and the strength of the fatherless was crushed. Therefore, snares are all around you, and sudden fear troubles you, or darkness so that you cannot see, and as abundance of water covers you. Is not God in the height of heaven, and see the highest stars, how lofty they are? And you say, why does God know? Can he judge the deep darkness? Thick clouds cover him so that he cannot see, and he walks around the circle of heaven. Will you keep to the old way which wicked men have trod, who were cut down before their time, whose foundations were swept away by a flood? They said to God, depart from us. What can the Almighty do to them? Yet he filled their houses with good things. But the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it and are glad, and the innocent laugh at them. Surely our adversaries are cut down, and the fire consumes their remnant. Now acquaint yourself with him and be at peace. Therefore good will come to you. Receive, please, instruction from his mouth, and lay up his words in your heart. If you return to the Almighty, you will be built up. You will remove iniquity far from your tents. Then you will lay your gold in the dust, and the gold of Ophir among the stones of the brooks. Yes, the Almighty will be your gold and your precious silver, for then you will have your delight in the Almighty, and lift up your face to God. You will make your prayer to him. He will hear you, and you will pray your vows. You will also declare a thing, and it will be established for you. So light will shine on your ways when they cast you down, and you say, exaltation will come. Then he will save the humble person. He will even deliver one who is not innocent. Yes, he will be delivered by the purity of our hands. Let me just, see what time it is. Okay. Chapter 23, Job proclaims God's righteous judgment. Then Job answered and said, even today my complaint is bitter. My hand is listless because of my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come to his seat. I would present my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know the words which he would answer me, and understand that he would say to me. Would he contend with me in his great power? No, but he would take note of me. There the upright could reason with him, and I would be delivered forever from my judge. Look, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I cannot perceive him. When he works on the left hand, I cannot behold him. When he turns to the right hand, I cannot see him. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot has held fast to his steps. I have kept his way and not turned aside. I have not departed from the commandment of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. But he is unique, and who can make him change? And whatever his soul desires, that he does. For he performs what is appointed with me, and many such things are with him. Therefore I am terrified at his presence. When I consider this, I am afraid of him. For God made my heart weak, and the Almighty terrifies me, because I was not cut off from the presence of darkness, and he did not hide darkness from my face. Chapter 24, Job complains of violence on the earth. Since times are not hidden from the Almighty, why do those who know him see not his days? Some remove landmarks. They seize flocks violently and feed on them. They drive away the donkey of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox as a pledge. They push the needy off the road. All the poor of the land are forced to hide. Indeed, like wild donkeys in the desert, they go out to their work, searching for food. The wilderness yields food for them and for their children. They gather their fodder in the field and glean in the vineyard of their wicked. They spend the night naked without clothing and have no covering in the cold. They are wet with the showers of the mountains and huddle around the rock for want of shelter. Some snatch the fatherless from the breast and take a pledge from the poor that cause the poor to go naked without clothing. And they take away the sheaves from the hungry. They press out oil within their walls and tread wine presses, yet suffer thirst. The dying groan in the city, and the souls of the wounded cry out, yet God does not charge them with wrong. There are those who rebel against the light. They do not know its ways nor abide its path. The murderer rises with the light. He kills the poor and needy, and in the night he is like a thief. The eye of the adulterer waits for the twilight, saying, no eye will see me. And he disguises his face. In the dark they break into houses, which they mark for themselves in the daytime. They do not know the light, for the morning is the same to them as a shadow of death. If someone recognizes them, they are in the terrors of the shadow of death. They should be swift on the face of the waters. Their portion should be cursed in the earth, so that no one would turn in the way of the vineyards. As drought and heat consume the snow waters, so the grave consumes those who have sinned. The womb shall forget him. The worm shall feed sweetly on him, and it should be remembered no more. And wickedness should be broken like a tree, for he preys on the barren who do not bear, and does no good for the widow. But God draws the mighty away with his power. He rises up, but no man is sure of life. He gives them security, and they rely on it. Yet his eyes are on their ways. They are exalted for a little while, then they are gone. They are brought low. They are taken out of the way like all others. They dry out like the heads of grain. Now, if it is not so, who will prove me a liar and make my speech worth nothing? Okay. Wow. Are we living in the times of Job? Wow, that's, amen, amen. Again, remind you of my book. My ears are not like yours. My ears are not like yours. This is available on Amazon.com. It's an encouraging word for children ages 4 through 11 and even younger. Thank you, God, and bless you, Susan. Thank you. Judy, if you would, please retweet this. God bless everyone. Robin said, a really wonderful book. Carmen said, thank you. Say safe days, Susan and friends. Thank you, Lee. Same to you. God willing, we will be back here tomorrow. And if you will, please retweet this. Thank you for reading the word to us. Wanda, you are very welcome. Check Michelle Maka, an update on the election. Excellent report answered. Okay, I will, Gina. God bless everybody. Thank you, Susan, and God bless everyone. Thank you, Ellie Mae. All right, everybody. God willing.